the cloud, because they can still get that on Facebook from YouTube. Yeah, I think we can. Hi, we're not live yet, but I think this gets, I don't even know. I think they can cut this, but if they can't cut this, hello, welcome to the beginning of the YouTube. All right, but I think they can. Look at that. Okay. You've heard me complain about this before, but I don't understand why it cannot find my group until the very last suggestion, even though it's literally the only place I ever go live from Zoom. Okay. Oh, I forgot something. I forgot lots of things, but oh well, we're live now. So whatever I forgot, we're going to forget that I forgot it. And wait, stop. Okay. All right. We are now live on Facebook. Yay. I'm here with Lisa McCourt. I'm going to look at a different screen, but I'm going to try to grab my phone too. Really, really quick. Hello, everyone. I have Lisa here. Lisa's going to smile and look pretty while I get my phone.
Hi, y'all.
Not to make you.
Oh, that was quick. I was planning my monologue. Okay, never mind.
You go for it. Now, I'm just trying to find it on my phone because it's going to make noise now because it just doesn't like me. Because if I find it on my phone, ta-da, it's sometimes easier to see the comments, but then sometimes it's harder to see the comments because Facebook always changes its mind. Have you noticed that about?
I'm counting on you to see the comments. I've never tried this. I admire people who do these Facebook Lives. I've thought that's a cool thing to do, but I have not attempted this yet.
You've never attempted this. Okay. Well,
never attempted this.
I
mean, with you, with other people, but I mean, me, myself hosting it, I've never attempted a Facebook Live.
You're making me feel so powerful and important and accomplished that I kind of sort of occasionally know how to pull off a Facebook Live, except
that sounds like a brag to me. You are so like powerful and accomplished. Look at you, Facebook Live and all over the place. Rub that in.
I'm rubbing that in, and and Lisa just brilliantly brought us to our topic today. And I want to say, okay, so the topic of this week's episode is how to be a better bragger. And it came to me because I was listening to Lisa I was listening to your podcast and you were interviewing someone on your podcast and you were trying to encourage that person to brag. And that person actually was Diane Ray, who is the founder of the podcast network that we are both a part of. And you were trying to encourage her to brag about like her coolness and stuff. And I don't recall that you got her to do it. So we'll talk about that too. But then you were saying in that episode that bragging is something that you teach in Joy School. And that just really resonated with me because I've been on a quest the last, I don't know, like eight or 9 months to really celebrate myself a lot more and in a deeper way. And I've been guided to do that. And it's been pretty remarkable. But bragging is one of those step over the line things, you know, like when it's one thing to celebrate yourself internally, but, you know, to speak it to others with your words, you know, feels a little bit terrifying. And so I knew I needed to have some of that. And, you know, last week on the show, we did an episode called, Are You a Compliment Deflector? Title, courtesy of Lisa McCourt, all about receiving compliments and rubbing that in. And this was sort of the follow-up to that one. I had already recorded that one when I heard Lisa talk about bragging. And so it all kind of just fit together. But I got some comments last week when we invited people to share the best compliment they've ever received. People were having a lot of trouble doing that. So I'm thinking that this episode might even be a little more of a stretch for my dear listeners, right? To go from, wow, I don't even know if I can share a compliment that I've received to full on bragging. So anyway, that sets the stage for the conversation. Lisa, what are share with us about bragging, what it means to you and why it's so important?
Well, what's coming to me right now, because I want to be a little bit different from the podcast that we recorded already, which I know your listeners will love. What's coming to me right now is that I think the whole compliment deflection thing is taught, it's learned. Think about like a little baby, okay, like a brand new baby. You've got like 25 relatives oohing and eyeing and counting the toes. Is the baby like the slightest bit self-conscious about this? No, the baby's like, yes, I'm going to bask in this love from all these relatives and strangers and whatnot, right up through, at some point in childhood, we just rub that in. We bask in it. We love it. We want to sing and dance. We're looking for all those accolades. We get taught to deflect that, right? And I think for a lot of us in our adult state, we think we have this story running that accepting a compliment from me or bragging on myself means putting myself above others. And we know that's no bueno. Okay. Like that's true. It's really not no bueno. It's really not, like you don't want to put yourself above others, but it comes down to this like dirty little word. And I say dirty word because it's so cliche and overused that I hesitate to use it, but it comes down to self-love. And it's a misperception that loving yourself is going to take away from the admiration and respect and honoring and love that you give to others, when it's actually the flip of that. The more you can authentically love yourself, the more you genuinely extend that to everyone around you. So it's really a practice about, let's start here and then we can extend it out there. But we don't see it that way. We see it as, oh, if I brag on myself, then somebody else is going to feel bad about themselves. No, bragging on yourself just shows them that they can brag on themselves, and you're going to like love them and clap for them and be just as happy for them as you are for you.
Yeah, you said so much. You said so much in there. And so much, and I'm still drinking it all in because this is why I have her, because she's like a very wise woman. But
for lots of reasons too.
Scarce idea of love, right? And it is true. Some people brag in the more, and we talk about this in the show, but that's okay because I think it bears hearing twice. So I'm just gonna, some people brag as a self-aggrandizing, egoic way where they really do, want to convince themselves, usually by telling you how great they are because they feel insecure, they feel inferior, they feel scarce, they feel diminished by you, and they want to bring themselves up, or they want you to feel diminished, which is another form of them feeling diminished by you, right? And that's when you're operating in scarcity and you're operating in this idea that, well, if I'm wonderful, I'm taking away from your wonderfulness. Or if you're wonderful, well, there isn't enough wonderfulness left for me. But at the end of the day, we're all wonderful. We're all amazing. We're all lovable, inspiring, like fantastic. And actually your spirit wants you to just know and remember that and live, in alignment with that truth, right?
Sing it, sister.
Yay. Yeah. And so I didn't think of it that way, though. I didn't really think of it as being a scarcity belief, but it really is. It really, really is. And, I guess if you come at it that way too, when you share your own accomplishments and excitement and happiness with others, there is that possibility that if they are still in that scarcity mindset, they're going to feel like, oh, she has this. This means, this is showing me where I don't. And I think, we have to be free to celebrate ourselves and to do our own thing, and knowing that everyone hasn't caught up yet, and that it's not a harmful or hurtful thing to celebrate yourself truly and completely. And that really what you are doing is hopefully modeling for others that when they are ready, they can do it too.
Absolutely. And when you know that in yourself, that like my big happy celebration of me is no different than exactly how I would be so big and happy celebrating you, then it loses that cringe factor, because you just know that like, yeah, good stuff is happening for me. Good stuff is happening for you. This is awesome. Let's celebrate all of this, knowing that the more we celebrate, the more attention we give the good stuff, the more we get of the good stuff.
Yay. I want to, because a bunch of people are watching, and I want to call out their names and say hi if they're still here, because some of them I know and some of them I don't. So I want to say hello. And then I also want to invite your questions about bragging or really anything else. I'll leave some time at the end to answer whatever wants to come through. Answer any of your questions for Lisa, who is our joy expert, and she's amazing. So if you want to just be happier and more self-loving and all of that, and you need some help with that, I'm sure if you ask a question in a way that she can get you a quick answer, she will help with that. And also I invite all of you people whose names I'm about to call out, if you're actually still on the live, if you feel so emboldened, if that's a word, share something, either something you love about yourself, or if that is too hard to share right now in this Facebook Live, where it is social media, so everyone will see it, share something about each other, or share something that someone else has said about you, but share a brag or a compliment in these in the post. But I say, if you can share something you love about yourself, that would be amazing. And this should be a beautiful, wonderful, and safe place to do it, because we're all just loving on each other, right?
Absolutely. Let me add a little caveat about bragging, because this is just traditionally how we open my Joy School groups. We have weekly groups that meet for Joy School, and everybody's popping on a little bit different times. So this is our little, let's do this until everybody's here and we start the agenda for the evening or the day. So it's about this past week, and you don't have to do this past week, but this is how we do it in Joy School. What do you have to brag about? And that could be in the traditional sense where we feel like we did something brag-worthy or accomplished something brag-worthy, but it's also anything good that happened to us. Even if we don't feel like we're responsible for it, we sent out the energy, the vibration that brought that to us. And since sending out the right energy and vibration is what Joy School is all about, that counts as a brag. It doesn't have to be something you even feel responsible for. If you had some windfall, some happy coincidence, no such thing, anything good that happened to you, it's brag-worthy because you created that, whether it was conscious with the tools that we can create things with, or unconscious, doesn't matter. If it's good and it happened, it's brag-worthy.
I love that. I love that. And that's a softer way, I think, sometimes too, for people to share their wins too. Because I think that when we brag about something that we think we are, or we think we did, we have a lot of conditioning that tells us, no. But when you share about something that's happened for you, even though you created that too, 1000%, it doesn't feel as threatening. So I love that. All right, I'm going to call out some names. No one has posted any brags yet. I know you guys are gonna. I believe in you. I want to say hi to Lori, Kelly, Nicole. I hope you're still on, Nicole. I haven't seen you in so long. Kelly Petro, Gerline, Susan. I hope you're still on too, my friend, and I hope you're feeling better. Scott, Casey, Stephanie, Tanya, Evangeline, and Tina. Oh, Tina, it's good to see you too. So it's good to see all of you. Just some names I know more personally than others, but you have now been called upon to bring on your brags if you are still watching, and Facebook's not really showing me that. And it's possible that they already are too, because sometimes Facebook also just, I can't see the brags.
My mind's going to the example I gave when we were with our mutual friend Jacob Norby, because he's like a arachnophobic little darling. And I was like, so Brad could be from winning a major award in your office or school or whatever to I escorted a spider outdoors today instead of mercilessly murdering it like Jacob Norby would have done. So that was just an example that came to my mind, because that was what came up when we were doing this with him.
I love that. Yeah, that's a good one. And Susan says she loves her cheeks.
Aww.
I love her cheeks too. You have really nice cheeks.
I want to see Susan's cheeks.
Yeah. Well, I mean, that may be a lot to ask her to post a picture.
I want to know which cheeks. Yeah.
But you are more than welcome. Oh yeah. Thank you, Lisa, for that. I don't think we need to know that. And definitely.
You just be proud of all those cheeks, girl.
We don't want to invite all cheek.
I think that all her cheeks got it going on, and there's a brag, like a 4-way brag right there.
Yeah, but Facebook algorithms. Let's be careful when we post pictures of poor. Now she's really going to be so happy that she was the very first person to take the bait and post her brag. Now no one else is going to post a brag, because they're all going to think that we're going to ask for their butt pictures. Thank you so much, Lisa.
Let's make that the next requirement. Oh, this is fun.
Yeah, we have too much fun together as part of the problem.
Always
right,
has been.
Share more. And while we are waiting for you guys to share, and while waiting for you guys to stop laughing and to have your questions too, you also want to talk about some other lovable things today. So you did.
Oh, that stuff I said. Yeah, no, I said it's about like we're in gratitude month, right? We ought to talk about that, even though I feel like gratitude is such a tired, like gratitude. And I think the problem is that so often those of us who have been around the block in these like spiritual metaphysical circles, we feel like we're supposed to be grateful for things that might not be like super lighting us up. And so it's like, what's wrong with me that I can't be grateful for all this like awesome stuff that I have, right?
Right. Do you think gratitude is a form of bragging too?
Maybe. Yeah. Because
it's the same,
whatever we give our attention to, whatever we shower that precious attention on is going to grow in our lives. So yeah, saying I got great cheeks is gratitude for your cheeks. It's going to make like those cheeks be even more awesome and beautiful than they ever were before, because you're giving them that positive energy, that positive attention. That's what feeds and grows anything in our life.
Yeah. And I think gratitude is everything, anything that feels good, that you feel good about, anything that uplifts you, anything that excites you, right? Anything that you can appreciate about yourself, about others, about your situation, about life. And sometimes too, there are a lot of times nowadays, and I want to make sure too that I read some, because some compliments or some brags are coming in. I'm so excited. But I also feel nowadays having these moments where I'm just grateful. I'm just grateful. I just feel good. Like it's not even tied to a specific thing. In fact, I'm learning more and more that things are nice, but they're not even the point. I just feel good. I just feel good. You know, I just feel content with life. So I think that's in some ways the greatest gratitude, right? Just
absolutely.
Just the being.
Sorry, I talked a little.
That's you. Like the cutest sneeze.
It was a little cough. I choked on my own saliva. But
take your time.
What I was going to say about that is that I think that sometimes we can get a little bit conditioned or weary with our gratitude. And you've recently made some huge life changes. So I think it's sort of natural that there's a, sorry,
you're good.
Continuing, like we can ride a wave of gratitude for a certain amount of time. And I think then it's just human nature to need that next level up. And I think that's where a lot of people get so frustrated with this idea, like, look at all that I've accrued or accomplished on my to-do list of my life and my purpose. And I've done all this and I've achieved all this. And why aren't I more grateful? Why aren't I more naturally grateful? And that's just the natural expansive nature of this human container, right? We want to keep expanding. And I love that you're in such a state of gratitude. And I feel like it's, you know, it comes with a little bit of fear and unnervingness to have so much change, but you're still in that natural flow of gratitude. I think that the trick is when, you know, we've been sort of like maybe on a plateau for a while, and it's really like starting to seem harder to be grateful for what is when we have that next horizon. And I think the secret, the key is to find those ways to identify what is it out there that I'm really after, because whatever from our puny little brains we've seen that we think might bring us the feeling we want out there, it's really about the feeling, and then looking for where is that feeling in my life right now? What is bringing me that feeling? Even if it's not to the extent that I'd like or I'm imagining by this imaginary thing on the horizon, where can I look around and have gratitude for that? And that's what just opens that valve of receivership for the next thing and the next thing and the next thing.
It comes through to say too, and I want to feel into this, that gratitude for many has become a mental concept. So again, it's what I should be grateful for, right? What I can identify as a win. Yeah. That's not what you mean, correct?
Oh yeah, I think that's sort of the less healthy aspect, that we feel like we have to keep having that next win and that next win according to what we've been conditioned to consider the next good thing. But I feel like people of our maturity have kind of crossed possibly out of that to an extent. And maybe that's a blanket statement that I shouldn't be making, but I feel like, yes, that governs early adulthood. Like, what next outward external accomplishment can I achieve? And then I think we kind of cross a threshold where it's more about that next internal level, that up leveling of consciousness, and we get a little itchy. And maybe I'm just projecting myself all over this conversation, but I know that for me, every little bit of time I get itchy for that next up level, for that next whatever that looks like. And it's not about the external things anymore. And I need to really then understand, okay, let's look at where I'm getting that feeling right here and just bathe that in my gratitude. And that's what opens the valve for the seamless up level.
All right. I love that. I have so many comments on that, but I want to share the brags because these brave people said them and I want to share them with like out loud, even though you can all see the comments. Evangeline says, I finished knitting a baby shower gift. The shower's on Saturday. Well done. That's really
I want all the photos. I want the cheeks and the baby
I know.
shower
Yeah,
gift.
put it on there, man. We want to see that. And that's definitely G-rated. So by all means, share that. And Lauren Lee says, I'm cute. I know you're cute. You are so cute. And so thank you for sharing that. And we're taking more. And then also hello to Mindy and Renee for tuning in. And yeah, I kind of hear what you're saying. I think what I was hearing you say too, Lisa, is you're almost using that sort of gratitude as a way to, the self to put on the itchiness.
Yeah.
Right. And I think it can. And I think we can use sometimes it's not even itchiness, right? Sometimes we're really feeling in a down place. And the gratitude and the finding the positive where it's happening in our lives. And sometimes even if we're in a really low place, it's finding like the mere lack of suckiness for 30 seconds. Like even that is an okay place to start, because what you're doing is you're breaking the stream of suffering. You're breaking the stream of suffering and you're moving yourself into the flow. And I think that's what gratitude is really here to do. It's not a mental exercise. It's about moving you back into the flow, aligning you back with how your spirit feels all the time. Some people know, I had a very interesting winter and some time where my emotions were not always in line with my soul. And then I would have these moments, right, where I would totally see how my spirit, my higher self was experiencing what I was, going through. And it was amazing. I was in a certain amount of suffering, emotional suffering. And then I would be like, really, spirit? You see it this way? My soul saw it as beautiful. My soul saw it as exciting. My soul saw it as, delicious, delightful, amazing, joyous. And again, I know it's sometimes hard when we're in a dark place to think that our soul is like, having a blast. But it is. It is. And so the more that we can see that, for me, it was a revelation, because in those moments I was like, all right, the truth is there. The truth is there. Right now I'm feeling a little bit gloomy. I'm feeling a little bit disconnected, but I know what's really going on, and it sustained me. And even if you don't have those moments, and they were powerful, powerful moments that I know I'm still processing and unpacking. We get those moments every single day, every single moment. Then we just, find those little miracles. We tune into the miracle of what is in the moments that we can find it. And again, that's what puts us back in the flow, back in the track, and back in our lives. And something's coming through for you, Miss Lisa. Is it okay if I share it?
Yeah, because I was going to say, you helped me see all of that myself.
It might be a little personal.
Go for it, baby.
Because it came through on my walk today when I was banking my 10,000 steps. Which my compulsive mind still wants to do. But anyway, what's coming through too is, with you, we often, and I get this because I feel too, I'm on the precipice of another big jump in my conceptual understanding of life. And conceptual understanding often translates, if we get it right, to actually living happier and more joyously and more in alignment. Not always, but often, and I find too that those things kind of go lockstep. So I'll kind of feel it, and then I'll kind of understand it, and then I'll feel it, and then I'll understand it, and then boom, I'm living it. And so I feel that I'm at that place right now. But something else that I really understand, and I think it may or may not be helpful for you, is I don't have to understand to make that leap. And, you and I are word nerds. You and I are like spiritual junkies. You and I are teachers, and you and I are intellectuals. Let's just be honest. And so, I think it's both of our greatest joy to share words and concepts and teachings and be part of that impetus for change on that level. And she's also such a love bug and spreads so much love and light and joy just being around her. I can attest to this from being around her. And she's just delightful. So if you can't tell from the screen, it's a true fact. And I aspire to be that way as much as possible too. But I feel like your guidance also wants to say, like, two things are coming through. One, you don't have to know and understand. You will. But, we both know that conceptual growth doesn't come from our minds. It comes from, the stretching of what our minds think they know. And then, it resettles to a broader perspective, but you can't get there by thinking your own old thoughts, because then you're just, you're going to stay at the plateau. But the other thing you guys want to say specifically to you, and I hope it's okay, please love and acknowledge that you are where you are. Because and this goes back to the bragging and the gratitude and the whole damn thing, when we acknowledge and love that we are where we are, paradoxically, it gets us open up to grow and to expand, right? And also, just to lay on some compliments, where you are is perfect and wonderful and beautiful. And there is no comparison. Of course, every single person on this live and every single person not on this live and every single person on or off Facebook is all a beautiful emanation of the one divine, source. And I absolutely love you all. Believe it or not, I love every last one of you. And I mean that. And she does too. I'll just speak for her right now. But as I tune into the beautiful energy of Miss Lisa, McCourt, I obviously can't speak tonight. In my mind, you're extra specially lovable. Right.
Oh,
I mean, she's amazing. And, so celebrate yourself, because celebrating yourself is the best way to say where I am is exactly right. And I love plateaus. When you're at the plateau, you're not tired. Well, you might be tired, but you're like not breathing heavy. You're catching your breath and the views, you don't want to miss the views when you get to that plateau. Right.
Beautiful
so you don't necessarily want to be like rushing to that next place when you got the view. And you're right. When you get, bored of the view and tired of the view, then sometimes you're ready to move on and find the next one. Right. But make sure you're, anyway, so that's
beautiful metaphor, analogy, whatever you want to call that. I love that. And you helped me so much this year, sister. Everything you just said about you, was stuff that I was going through too. And it's all for our benefit. It doesn't feel that way. We're in the muck of it. It doesn't seem obvious at all how it could be for our benefit, but it truly is. Yeah. And that's only really available from hindsight. So
yeah. And more and more in the interesting experiences that I've had in the past year, I've had a knowing. I haven't liked it. Some of it I really didn't like. Just saying, really, really didn't like, but I honor it. I accept it. I stream with it. I learned tremendous amounts from it. I continue to learn from it. And I love that my spirit or soul or humanness or something is allowing more and more for me to, even when I'm locked in the cage, to see through the keyhole, and to know it's there. And I'm not locked in the cage. You're not locked in the cage. You're always free. But, and so when you find yourself in a place where you are like a little lost or confused, if it's a moment, if it's a long moment, if it's been 17 years, whatever it is, the first step is holding out the faith that it's more, and then looking for the evidence. And the evidence, if you open, it will find you. It will find you. And gratitude and self-celebration and celebrating your wins. These are all places to start to crack open that door and start to, bring in that light.
Hallelujah. That is so true. It's the part of the brain called the reticular activating system, is that we're always going to find what we're looking for. This is like a science thing about our brains, and we can shake that up. It's going to be a default setting until we learn about it and take control of it and start looking deliberately for other things. And then they're there. It's amazing. It's like, we always talk about the 400 billion bits of information that are available in any given moment to all of us humans, and our little tiny puny brains only actually are capable of registering and interpreting 50 bits of information out of the 400, right? So it's like, of course, there's no objective reality. Whatever we're experiencing as reality, we can change that by widening the keyhole, expanding our perception filter to let in more of the available reality that's around us at all times that we aren't able to see because of these like tangly webs that we create early in our lives. And it's all maneuverable when we start taking control of it.
And it's my new BFF who I've never met, Esther Hicks, would say, right? What is real anyway, right? It's what you're focusing on. It's what you're choosing to stream your attention to in the now. That's it.
I want to feel like a scary truth initially, but it's like such a joyful truth once you get past that initial little fear point with it.
Is it scary? Yeah, maybe it has been.
I think for a lot of people, we want to be right. We want to feel like we know what's what here on this place. Yeah. And we know like this much of what's what, but we cling to that. And no, this is what's what. I know what's right. I know what's right. Because that's how we've been conditioned, that when we're right, we get gold stars and praise and we're good because we know what's right. And if you don't know what's right, then that's a bad, scary thing. But not knowing what's right, it's like so much more freeing and joyful.
And what's right or wrong, oftentimes in that context, is what we've been taught, what other people think, and what we're going to get feedback from the world, right? Rather than feedback from our own soul of what feels right and true and good for us in the now, which is the best kind of feedback. But none of us have been taught, no one that I know, not even my own children, though I try, have been taught to look for that, 24/7 predominantly. I want to open up, because it looks like we have a lot of eyeballs tonight. I want to open up questions on joy, anything that you'd like guidance on. I will do that too. Lisa's going to chime in too. I'm sorry, I'm totally putting her on the spot. But she's been a student of mine this whole year. So she her intuition is like shining. So I just signed her up. So, she wants to. Good. I thought you might get mad at me since I didn't warn you.
Wait, are they all going to be intuition questions? Can't any just be like straight up joy questions?
Any questions, and don't feel you have to answer anything that you don't feel like that does not.
I'm ready for it. Bring it.
So we'll see if we get some questions, but I wanted to tune into something else while we're waiting for said questions to come in. And I keep having to refresh my phone and change things because still no new questions. Oh, I just think I made it worse. Okay. Anyways, I'm waiting to see if some questions come in. If anyone wants guidance on anything, I want to talk about something else. We have the holiday season coming up. And this is our first holiday season in quite a long time that's a little bit more business as usual. The last couple, holiday seasons, I think I know there's been lots for people and traditions and getting together with family and things that people usually do. But also I think there's been a gift in that it hasn't been that fast-paced, frenetic, I have to do it this way. It has to be everything's been a little bit funky, which has meant that we're out of our routines. And sometimes that means we're out of our dysfunctional as well as our familiar routines, right? And so I feel like this is the first holiday season in a while that's sort of feeling more like a traditional holiday season, which tends to bring on, for some people, some heaviness. Some, I have to do this, I have to do that, the frenetic pace of the holiday season, which I personally never understood. I just want to enjoy my freaking self when I get all these days off. So I wanted to chat about that. We have more people. Hello, Jeanette. Bring on questions, things that you want guidance on, because, we're not going to do this forever. I have a hard stop in about 10 minutes, but maybe 15. But anyway, I want to talk about that a little bit, because I think, from a joy perspective, it's kind of like, how do you find the joy in the holidays without getting caught up in the crazies?
Right. So one of the just energetic principles that harkens back to your silent BFF Esther, we are always creating what we deep down expect. We could pay lip service to, I'm going to affirm that this is going to be a peaceful, loving holiday with all my family members. No, your subconscious isn't an idiot. Your subconscious knows where the deepest.
Subconscious isn't an idiot. Okay, go ahead.
So whatever you're affirming or praying for or hoping for, it's all bullshit. It's not going to matter. Whatever you deep down expect is what's going to unfold. That's where our creative power comes from, is from our expectations, which a lot of them are kind of like under the radar of our conscious awareness. So, what would you most like? And when we have a lot of people have family members that maybe are a little bit at odds with us, with our beliefs or our, I think that the thing that makes family gatherings difficult is that we all have a deep down desire to be our truest, most authentic selves. And some of us, when we've broken away from family a little bit, have found that freedom, and family kind of forces us back into that box. And we don't like that. So it feels uncomfortable.
Or pulls us, we feel a pull back into that box. I just want to say, no one can force us back into that box. But it's more easy to go, unconscious when you're around the people that, created said unconsciousness.
Absolutely.
Or co-created, because you were there too, but
Yes.
Not as potent a force if you were a child. Yeah, exactly.
Right. So I don't always subscribe to the act as if, because I think sometimes the act as if is just not giving your subconscious the credit that it's due. But if you want harmony with all your family members, you have to kind of give them the benefit of the doubt and go into it just, I'm going to be me. And I know that you want me to be me and you love to see me as being me. And I'm going to be my shining self for you in hopes of inviting you to be your shining self for me. Even if your rational mind is saying, well, that's never worked before. Like, that is definitely, not going to work out this time. People are growing and expanding just as you are, even if they haven't been a part of your day-to-day life. Go in with that expectation rather, and like maybe envision it like every day this week before you get in there in the company of your loved ones. Envision that they're going to meet you where you are. And when you can actually like get that expectation to be a little bit more solid, you're more likely to create it. Because a lot of us go into it like, sort of like on guard, have our shields up, and then it's just not going to even allow for the possibility that something might have shifted since you saw them last Thanksgiving.
Right. And you're gearing yourself up for that. And you're also putting that energy out there, which is going to play nicely with whatever in their energy is used to playing with you in that manner. Yeah, I think that's huge. And the other bonus about the acting as if, which you didn't use that term, but that visualizing, is that it feels good when you're doing it. So even if you do this and it feels really good and you can envision it, and then you walk into Thanksgiving and things don't go exactly how you want them to go, you have still banked all of that good energy, in the place that you can control it, which is in here and in here.
And you let go of outcome. No, yeah. Outcome does not matter. You're just going to do you. I'm going to do me. Everybody else can do them. If it turns out disastrously, maybe they won't come next Thanksgiving, and then I'll have a more peaceful holiday. So, you just have to do you and let go of outcome. And like, that's just one of the rules about up leveling your consciousness, is that those who are like vibrating are going to be drawn into your life, and those who aren't to get too far apart vibrationally are going to fall out of your life. And sometimes that's family, sometimes it's family of origin, sometimes that's heartbreaking in its own right, but it is the natural progression of a human journey through consciousness.
Yeah, agreed. And the other thing that I would say that's really important during this season, when there's a lot of external demands put on us and a lot of peopling demands putting on us. And I wasn't even asking the family question when I posed this question, but of course it's, especially with Thanksgiving, it's so potent. It was the perfect answer. And a big challenge, and just a big thing a lot of people deal with. But during this period too, it's really important that you make time for you. And when we feel a lot of external demands to meet other people where they're at, or, we're going to be in situations maybe where we don't feel like so authentically appreciated, or it might be a little bit harder for us to be who we really are. Or even, even if you love your family, it is a very natural and normal thing when you're around them, suddenly you're 10 years old again, right? Because we just fall back into those patterns. So one way to really, deal with that is make sure you're feeling yourself, make sure you're making time in your life, especially now, to do the things you love. Make sure you're getting some alone time. Make sure that you're filling your cup with people around you that do love and honor you exactly as you are, because that can also help as well. Because if you look at it, kind of like as a pie, if most of the pie is tasty, you're not going to taste the parts that don't taste so good. I mean, yeah, that was a really weird analogy, but you get the idea.
Your analogies, you come up with them. They're so apt. I love it. All right,
we got 2 questions. Then one more thing I want to talk about, and then we got to wrap up. Evangeline says, and I kind of feel like you already answered her question, but I'm going to put it out there anyway. I'm feeling stuck. How do I motivate? Boy, speaking would be so helpful if I could do it today. How do I motivate myself to take action on what I know I need to do, but can't take the leap on?
Stuck is such a beautiful place to be in. At Joy School, we love stuck. Stuck is a cusp moment. It's like a precipice. It's got to build. The contrast has got to build enough momentum before it can help you, make that leap where the net might not be appearing. And stuck is never stuck. Stuck is like for a moment. It's a temporary feeling of the momentum is catching up with me and I'm about to tip. Remember, don't spill the beans. Maybe I'm showing my age, that game. And then you put the last bean in and the whole thing, like, yeah, stuck is a beautiful place to be.
I love that. And I would say specifically to you, and what I get, Evangeline, too, is be kind to yourself. It is very easy to beat ourselves up, which will create more contrast. So eventually it will tip the beans, but it doesn't feel very good. So be kind to yourself and know we leave when we're ready. We leave when we're ready. And I don't think you have all the information yet. I think you're very close. But I think that will actually motivate you is some self-kindness. So that's what I get specifically for you. Be kind to yourself. Tell yourself, wow, this is a hard step, or wow, I'm not sure, or because I feel my read is, and you know you better than me, but my read is you may possibly be self-flagellating in a way that is taking you away from your goal. And also, you are beautiful. Brag on yourself, love yourself, honor yourself. And when we have a little child that's being recalcitrant, that's not doing what we think it should do, our inner parent, especially if we were parented this way, can come in and try to beat the crap out of that child and say, you little bugger, why the fork won't you do what I want you to do? I told you to eat your mashed potatoes, eat your damn mashed potatoes. It didn't feel good when you were a child. It doesn't feel good now. So understand, maybe you're full. Maybe you don't like mashed potatoes. Maybe you're getting a tummy ache, or a stomach flu. Maybe you just don't like to be yelled at. And when you're yelled at, your appetite goes away. So be kind to yourself wherever you are and be the voice of love in your head as much as you can. Yay.
That made me so happy.
Yay, letting her go. We got one more. One more from Jeanette. What if the universe seems to bring me so much joy with a particular person and I'm following the prompts? The old belief, I love this question. The old beliefs tell me something bad will happen and I'm prepared. I want to get what Lisa says, but I also want to say, Jeanette, I feel into that so much personally because I just did a whole episode about this, which I need to send to you, Lisa, to listen to. It'll go live eventually. But anyway, where I realized my own self has this doubting voice of, well, everything is so good, you must be going insane and not seeing it clearly, and we have that old programming sometimes well, don't get too happy. It can't be that good. And, you never know, our whole mental nitpicking apparatus is here to, protect us from ever being disappointed. It will always fail because there are new disappointments that are going to come around every corner because we can't predict and control life, right? And so it's not helpful to use the mind in that matter because all it'll do is make you freaking miserable, telling you what could go wrong. Most of those things won't go wrong. And half the times the thing that did go wrong, you didn't know it until after it went wrong. And then later you'll be worrying about that. Okay. So that's my happy way of saying, follow your joy, follow your joy. If you have any real true nigglings and intuitions that, maybe something isn't 100% correct, honor them, listen to them, love them, be mindful, be gentle with yourself. And, but just because something is good does not mean something else is going to go wrong. And so just, recognize that's my conditioning and that I can take this one step at a time and I'll see. I'm agreeing that here I am on life's path and I don't get to know everything, but I do get to enjoy what I'm experiencing now. So I don't know what she will say. So I'm going to watch the sunset while you say that because
I love to catch your
really pretty right now.
Enjoy that sunset.
All right.
So what's coming to my mind to share is that with manifestation, and that's not the primary thing I teach at Joy School, but manifestation is part of the package of a Joy School experience. And I've joked with colleagues who teach manifestation that, whenever you put yourself forth as a teacher of manifestation, there's going to be somebody who's like, oh, well, why don't you have a private jet then? Why don't you have a chateau in the south of France? Legit questions, right? Because, hey, I got manifestation in the bag. And the answer is twofold. And one thing is, what's going to light me up on a soul level isn't the same thing. It's going to light you up on a soul level. But also we can never, ever outrun our manifestations can never outrun our own deep down sense of our worthiness and what we deserve. And that's not something that goes from trickle to tidal wave overnight. That's something that we work on with our up-leveling, with our higher consciousness growth. And so it's kind of like it's a valve that expands over time, right? So I've created a life for myself that is beyond anything I could possibly have imagined at prior points in my life. So I know that the tools of manifestation work, and I know that my valve is always expanding, but for all of us, it expands incrementally. And that feeling that you're experiencing there, that you're talking about, is just a stretch pain of the valve opening, because our valve has to, we have to kind of like keep pushing it open to get more and more deliciousness and yumminess and joy into our lives. And that's painful for a lot of us who didn't come with an especially like free flowing valve, and we've had to like do some work to expand our own deservingness. But your subconscious isn't an idiot. It knows what you believe you deserve. And if you're fighting against what you believe you deserve, it's going to be a little painful to open your valve, but it's really, really worthy work to pursue.
Yeah. And I would say too, you don't have to focus on where the valve is not feeling stretchy. You can let that be that. You can understand, oh yeah, of course that would come up now. That's my conditioning. Let me focus on something else, right? Because oftentimes we try to solve the problem by focusing on the problem, right? Or the perceived problem. And then we're just feeding the problem, right? So we can see it's there,
not a problem.
Say hello to it. Yeah, exactly. It's not a problem at all, but we don't
have
to fix it. We can just let it be there and notice it, just fading away like the sunset, which is about to disappear in 1 second. And I think I'm going to get the green flash.
Either show us or shut up about it, because you're just bragging now. You're just bragging on your sunset.
It's out. Oh, it just flashed. I think I got the green flash again. I found out because I can't always know if that's really it. And yesterday I was asking a friend who was also watching it, and I said, I think I saw it. And she goes, you did. I just did too. Anyway, this is my little ritual here in San Diego. And
it's a nice ritual. I have partaken. It's beautiful.
I wanna say, Kate says, thank you for the holiday with family advice, encouraging and much needed. Last little brag before we wrap up, because I haven't really shared with this group, I don't think, and I want to share really, 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 really quickly, and then I have to get on for a 5 o'clock client. But I want to share a little brag that this last year I've been on a little bit of a mission to create a new business. Some of you have seen glimmerings of it in this group. But I've created a retreat center here in San Diego, Cactus Blossom Retreat. And our grand opening is in January of 2023, and our first official retreat. And we still have one bedroom available. So a single or a double occupancy, if you feel like coming to join us, it's going to be amazeballs. That's not true. The 12th through the 16th of January. So I'll post that in the comments too, so people can see that. But we just did our first retreat. Lisa flew out to do it with us. Lisa's going to come back and teach again, probably in the fall. So I don't know. I just wanted to celebrate that and announce that with you, because it was such a blessing to have you there, my soul sister, for our first retreat. And
such a magical place. So magical. Oh,
so yay. So I just wanted to share that. So and whatever you all are creating, may your creations be inspiring and wonderful too. I know they are. The energy is so ripe right now for development, and so ripe right now for creation, and so ripe right now for just like everything yummy and miraculous and wonderful. So it's so fun to be alive right now.
That's some good appreciation right there. Some good gratitude.
It's for real. It's for real. It's fun to be alive right now, even when you forget that it is, and it's not, but it still is, because your soul has not forgot. But a lot of times, I don't know, I feel like it's pretty good. All right. Anything else you want to share before we wrap up? Thank you so much for I know you were super busy on deadline with your book, and you took this time out to come back and chat even more. And so I'm very grateful for that. And thank you. And I hope everyone who listens to this in the replay enjoys it as much as I did.
I would not miss an opportunity to play with you, live or otherwise.
Yay.
Love you, sister.
Likewise. All right. I guess that's all we got. Thank you guys all for tuning in, and keep your brags in the comments. If you listen to the replay, you know, brag away. It's a beautiful thing. Don't be afraid. We're all loving here. And, you know, there's no one, I think, in this world more important to celebrate than you. True story. All right. Signing off. Love you all and namaste. Wait, what do I stop first? Stop live stream. Stop recording.